Hi, so I wanted to make a short little video discussing how I feel about a certain Native American entity, and in particular the designs that come with it. That entity being the Wendigo. The thing that prompted this video was my design of a character that comes later in my series that I deemed the Wendigo, which in my interpretation looks kinda like the deer monster that people have come to know. And I mainly did this because I was under the impression everyone had kind of heard by now that deer Wendigo are not accurate to the original designs by Native Americans, and that by now it would be more acceptable to use the more modern design because that bit of history isn't really fading anymore from people's minds. And to me personally, if the original culture's designs are not only preserved but more widely known, I would see no issue with people taking artistic liberties when making alternate designs. But a comment pointing this discrepancy between the original design and my design again prompted me to think about it a bit more. And so I ran a poll on my channel to see if people understood the inaccuracies of the new design. And to my surprise, I was overwhelmingly proven wrong. Apparently around 90% of people who watch my videos don't know that this is an inaccurate depiction of a Wendigo made by a novelist in the 1900s who had questionable views on Native American people, to say the least. Which did sort of change how I view this. Not because I don't think designs of beings in religion or spirituality can't evolve over time. They very much can and often do. It's almost part of the appeal to a lot of people to be able to express their own understandings of characters and see how other people understand them. And it's not because of the original intent of the redesign either. While I think it's good to acknowledge it was made for dicey reasons, after more than 100 years pass, there does come a point at which the original intent, while not useless to know about, doesn't hold as much a bearing on people who still use the design today. Now, the reason I feel it makes sense to try and clear up and not perpetuate this misconception is folklore in general is something that is integral to each culture it originates from. Learning about the stories people would tell each other about monsters in the night and gods up on high can tell you so much about who originally made them, the lessons they wished to teach, and the lens through which they saw the world. Which I just think is fascinating and genuinely a very cool thing that stories can do. So when it comes to the depiction of Native American beings, having these stories that are part of many people's histories be wiped away and misconstrued to the point of being forgotten by most can be pretty alarming. Stories should be able to evolve for sure, but when it's at the cost of being able to have people remember where they even came from and how they once were, and for a culture that has endured numerous attempts to wash it all away, does feel to me at least that we should try and preserve that original story until it's more widely known. Which I just now realized I haven't shown you what a more lore accurate Wendigo design looks like, so here you go. This is a Wendigo design from the game Until Dawn, and while I've somewhat soured on the storytelling aspect of the game over time and choose your own adventure style games in general, one aspect I always liked was this Wendigo design. But upon reflecting on it, this is like the only piece of media I know that got it right since the deer design was popularized. And to be completely fair, I do just think the deer design looks cooler to me from a purely design perspective.
Want a break from the ads?
But I still have an appreciation for the original design of the Wendigo, and I think it should be what we consider to be, and continue to depict, as the true design of a Wendigo. I guess in a perfect world, if I could just change everyone's mind with the flick of a switch, I would take the deer Wendigo design and just make it into its own monster, because I like them both for very different reasons. But tragically, reality is a messy bitch, and we have to clean up her room for her until we die. Tragically, making videos hundreds of people may see means I have boring things like, responsibility and have to realize my actions have consequences, silly things like that. So, the compromise I have landed on is I don't want to call this a Wendigo anymore, since I don't want to be a part of the confusion as to what a Wendigo is. But I do want to try and give this thing a more fitting name. Probably just going to throw the naming of this thing on over to you guys, since if you made it this far through the video, I think you should get a say in what the name of this thing will be. So feel free to comment your name ideas down in the comment section below. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I am still working on the Mackenzie series. I've gotten a few scenes rendered. It just takes forever to render anything, so it'll be happening eventually, and I appreciate you guys being patient. And yeah, that's all she wrote. Go read a good horror book or something. I recommend the Black Farm. I need to come up with a way to end these videos.